What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Reformed Reader, the channel where we review different forms of media through the lens of a Christian who is under the authority of the scriptures. My name is Josh, and today we're going to be doing our monthly wrap-up for the month of October. For probably the 10th time this year, I have said, man, time is flying by so fast. So yeah, the month is over, and that is just absurd to me. But you know what that means is that I get to start putting up Christmas decorations just to anger some of you out there. So without any further ado, let's start off with what did I read this month? This has been, I think, a record month for me as far as the amount of books that I read. So let's start off with the first book that I read at the beginning of the month, which was Academy of Outcasts by Larry Correia. Yeah, this book was a 10 out of 10 for me. I absolutely loved it. I had a ton of fun with it. This is one of the most fun books that I've read, not just this year, but of all time. It's just super fun. And were it not for a few other books that I've read this year, this would be a contender for book of the year for me. I guess I just kind of didn't really know what to expect, even though I talked to Larry about it. And he went in depth about what the plot was, but I just didn't really know what to expect as far as like timbre and mood and those kind of things. And this just blew me away. It was just a ton of fun. So yeah, I gave this a 10 out of 10. And then the next book I read was The Heart Taker by A.M. Wiley. Now, most of you guys already know that I loved Weird Space by the same author. And so this was this was a horror novel. And I found out later that apparently it's marketed as YA. I had no idea, but looking back on it, like, I guess I could see that, but at the same time, it didn't really read like a YA book for me. That's just, personal preference. It probably shows my ignorance more than anything. But yeah, I had a really good time with this book as well. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. It was super fast paced. I didn't really have problems with it, but it was so like breakneck that there were a couple of times like right out of the gate that I was kind of like, whoa, let's like pause and recalibrate, just because I've got to kind of wrap my head around what's going on real quick. But yeah, absolutely love this book. And I'm so glad that Jordan at First Line Library recommended Weird Space, because I have just loved these books and I plan to get into Weird Space 2 very, very soon. So then the third book that I read was These Silent Woods by Kimmy Cunningham Grant. This was sent to me by Jordan over at First Line Library, and I finally picked it up, and man, this book was so good. I gave this book a 9 out of 10, not because there was anything that was like holding it back necessarily, because it had those really impactful moments, but I would probably say if it was a little bit longer and I just got to spend more time with our characters, it probably would have pushed it over to that 10 out of 10 for me. So there wasn't anything that was like held it back from being a 10. I absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. And it's one of my favorite reads of the year. Part of it was because it was outside of the genre that I normally tend to read. So with it being this mystery, and not just a mystery, but this real like father-daughter relationship story, man, it was just so good. It was superb. And then I read Lost Boy by Christina Henry, and I also gave this one a 9 out of 10. This book was fantastic, especially for the like Halloween season. Man, it was so good. It was kind of exactly what I was looking for the Halloween season. I don't really tend to read horror books, and this definitely had some like horrific moments, but it's not really horror. It's just like a grimdark retelling of Peter Pan. In my review, I actually described it as Peter Pan meets Lord of the Flies. This is my favorite version of the Peter Pan story. It was just fantastic, maybe with the exception of Hook. But I'm biased to that, and I know that I am. But yeah, this was top tier. But then I did read Sledge versus the Labyrinth. This is an indie published book by Nick Horvath. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And I actually DNF'd this one. And that really stinks, because I was having such a good time with it. It is really, really interesting. It is an excellent story. I bought into it pretty hard with the whole dynamic of the labyrinth. That was super intriguing to me. But yeah, just know that it is heavy hitting. So I would have described this as like a modern day Sin City. If you like the Sin City movie, this is sort of like the story of Marv, Mickey Rourke's character. That's who this reminded me of a lot. And man, it was so good. But there just came a point with the language for me where it just got a little bit too heavy. It was scattered throughout the entire book, which is, like, I'm not just like, oh, it had a bad word, so I'm not going to read that anymore. No, but it got really, really, really heavy and really condensed in this one particular spot, because I think I made it like almost 60% of the way through the book and was having a blast with it. And yeah, I had my issues with it, and were I to do a review, those things would definitely come up. But then there was just this one chapter where it sort of came to a head, or at least it seemed like it did for me. And the language just kind of gave it that push over the edge for me. And so I decided, well, I'm going to put it down for the evening and just come back to it. And maybe I just need to have that like recalibration myself. So decided the next day that I was just going to listen to it on audio, and it didn't help. Sometimes that does work for me. Sometimes if I'm struggling through something, I'll switch the medium from how I'm consuming the story, and that does tend to help. It didn't with this one. It exacerbated the problems, and so yeah, it just wasn't for me. And then I had a friend of mine mention, "Hey, are you on Twitter?" And I said, "Well, I am, but I don't ever get on there." And he said, "Well, you're getting bashed by all the Sledge fans because he posted your review that I had put on Goodreads." And so, curiosity killed the cat. I had to go and look at it, and man, those comments were funny. They were super funny. So, yes, I understand that if I put out a public review, then they have the opportunity to publicly scrutinize it, and I'm here for it. You guys know I don't take myself too seriously. I only take the serious things seriously, and then everything else is fair game. And so I was rolling. I thought some of them were great. And even got to talk to the author a little bit, and he was just super funny and even gracious by the end of it. He was just like, "Man, we're sitting here trying to roast you, and now you ruined it because you're laughing." I'm like, well, it's just me. I think everything, if it's funny, I'm going to laugh. So, yeah, that was really, really cool. I will definitely tell you that if language isn't really a problem for you, like this is a top tier novel. If it wouldn't have been for some of those content issues, because it didn't just have language, there's a few other little things in there. If you're not as averse to them as I tend to be, then I think this will definitely be a top tier novel for you, because it was well on its way for me. So that one kind of stunk. But then the last one that I read was the book that my wife picked for me back a couple of months ago when we did our little book challenge, which was The Inn at Ocean's Edge by Colleen Coble. And this one I gave a flat 5 out of 10. I listened to this one because I started reading it. It was just not my thing. I kind of knew out the gate that this wasn't really going to be my thing. And I want to preface that by saying, like, I didn't already have my mind made up and say, well, I'm not going to enjoy this. No. I went into it hoping to enjoy it, and it was fine. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was just kind of middle of the road, and it was fairly predictable. There's nothing wrong with that. I described it to my wife last night as it's like a grittier version of the movie Safe Haven, which she absolutely loves, with Josh Duhamel and Julianne Hough. It's like a grittier version of that. It was a fine book. I can definitely see where the appeal is, especially knowing that all of her books are clean. Like I see the appeal there because she did write a good mystery. Was it, did it have all these twists and turns and stuff? I mean, it had a few, but they weren't really unexpected. But yeah, it was fine. I actually thought about doing a reading vlog with it, but I didn't really think it was going to be very entertaining, or that you guys would really care what I had to say about it, because it was fine. But yeah, so I read 6 books. Well, really 5.5 and DNF'd 1, if you want to count that. But then I actually have read like the halves of 2 other books that I'm currently in the middle of. So yeah, I'm just going to call it 6. So I read 6 books this month. I think that's my record as far as quantity of books in a month. Now, that might sound like a lot to some people, and it may sound like hardly any to others, but I will say that all of my books this month were pretty short. So I didn't have a big, thick book in here, which I normally do. I normally have one big, thick one for the month, and then I have, a few palate cleansers or one-offs or those kinds of things. That definitely helped as far as like my number, which I'm not really worried about. But yeah, overall, man, it was a fantastic reading month. I think this is the best reading month that I've had this year. I had so much fun. It was great to be excited about picking up my book, and that I didn't find myself at times, just to be transparent with you guys, going, okay, I got to get through this so that way I can read the next book that I've already told you guys I'm going to read and review. And so, like, sometimes that stuff does play into it a little bit, and I'm not as excited to pick up a book. And I don't ever want that to happen if I can help it at all. And so a lot of times when I can tell that it's kind of working its way towards that, I just kind of pump the brakes and I go, you know what? I'm just going to shift gears and go to something else, because I'm just reading books. And even though I may have said, this is my plan, like, you guys know, not only am I a mood reader, which I know everybody is, but like I am like a big time, like squirrel ADHD type reader. I mean, if I'm reading something that hasn't really grabbed my attention and I see something that catches my eye, like I have no qualms about like abandoning this and going and picking up something else. But it has led to a very good reading month, and I think will lead into a very good reading month coming up. And so this leads me to the next segment, which is what am I going to read? And so the first book that I'm in the middle of is The Terminal List by Jack Carr. Man, this book is really, really good. This was recommended to me in particular by two of my friends, and then later I realized three. So Sam over at iSamWise, Doug over at Faith and Fiction Book Club, and then Jordan over at First Line Library. All three have recommended The Terminal List to me. They're like, yeah, we really think this is going to be something that you're going to enjoy. And so I picked it up because I was reading something else and just wasn't really getting into it. And so I picked it up, and it is fantastic. It's really, really good. It's really fast paced too, which I enjoy. Short chapters. So yeah, that's been great. And the other book that I'm not quite halfway through at this point is Disquiet Gods by Christopher Rocchio. So Sun Eater, I mentioned that I was going to read one Sun Eater book a month until we got caught up for Shadows Upon Time. So that way I would get to read it along with everybody else at release day. I just kind of wasn't in the mood for it this month. So I just kind of needed to regroup. And I kind of wanted to sit with it for a little while before I jumped into Disquiet Gods, because I know that, because I had known beforehand that there was a little bit of a time jump there between those two books. So I just kind of wanted to give myself and the series time to kind of exhale. And I'm glad that I did, because I think that if I would have just jumped right into Disquiet Gods because I feel like, I need to, then I wouldn't have had as good of a time with it as I am right now. All the things that I've said before are holding true now. It's so good. So good. I do hope that I'm able to get caught up to where I can read Shadows Upon Time with everybody else. We'll see if that happens. So the first book that I'm going to read is The Terminal List. Then book number 2 is Disquiet Gods. And then book number 3 is going to be Wagons and Wyverns. And I'm going to be reading this as a buddy read with my brother Matt over at Go Read Books and Doug over at Faith and Fiction Book Club. This is one you guys know I've had on my TBR for a while. It's one that you guys know I've been anticipating to read. I loved Guard in the Garden. And my son actually read this one before I did. And he's like, you got to read it. You got to read it. So yeah, really looking forward to it, and really looking forward to getting to do a buddy read with some brothers. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then book number 4 is going to be Ordinary Grace. And this is by William Kent Kruger. And this is going to be another buddy read, this time with my brother Josh over at Already Overbooked. I have been really looking forward to this book because I think it's a little bit more outside of both of our wheelhouse. This book came on my radar last year maybe, and then I started doing some digging, and I was like, maybe this book isn't going to be for me. And then I just started asking some friends of mine that I have confidence in, and they're like, oh yeah, you're going to love this. So Josh and I were syncing up. We're like, hey, we need to do a buddy read at some point. And this is the one that kind of got thrown out there and stuck. And so yeah, looking forward to knocking this one out. And hopefully we'll have a video for both of those books, Wagons and Wyverns and Ordinary Grace. And regardless of whose channel I'm on or who's on this channel, I'll make sure to post it somewhere, because those will be a lot of fun to get to discuss. Now, book number 5 is going to be sort of a curveball maybe for some of you, but I'm actually going to be reading a new release, which is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And you're like, a new release? Yes. So Audible is releasing a full cast audiobook of this for the first time, and it's going to have music and sound effects and all that kind of stuff, and I have been anxiously anticipating this book. So that is going to be my main audiobook for the month. I cannot wait. Really looking forward to jumping into those. You guys know how much I love Harry Potter. And so to get to listen to the full cast, really, really, really excited about that one. As silly as it may be for some, but yeah. So that's going to be book number 5. And then book number 6, and this is going to be If I Have Time, right? Because that's a pretty stacked list. But if I have time, I definitely plan to start Shadows Upon Time. I would like to finish the Sun Eater series kind of with everybody else, just so that way I can jump in the conversation. It's not so much a fear of missing out, but it is an excitement to get to discuss the story with everybody else in its completion. So that'll be a lot of fun, because right now everybody's going, you need to get to chapter 40 in Disquiet Gods. I'm like, I know, I'm working on it. And then the last one, and this is going to be like an absolute flyer. This is going to be, I probably won't have time to get to it, but if I do have time, I'd love to. And it's going to be Weird Space 2 Dawn of the Warriors by A.M. Wiley. So this one I have been really looking forward to. I don't know that I'll have time. And so this very well may be either one that I tag at the end of the month, or if I'm reading something and it's not really jiving with me and I want to kind of take a break, this will be that book that I throw in there, because I know what to expect from Mr. Wiley at this point, and I know that I won't be disappointed. So it's either going to be that sort of palate cleanse when I'm maybe starting to feel like I'm getting in a little bit of a rut, or it could be my Thanksgiving break read. I'm just going to play it by ear. But this is my list. And normally, you guys know I hold a very loose TBR. I don't really stick to TBRs, obviously. There's been so many books on my shelf that I've wanted to get to and haven't been able to because of time and real life and all that kind of stuff. This month, I plan to stick pretty tight to this TBR. So again, that's The Terminalist, Disquiet Gods, Wagons and Wyverns, which is a buddy read, Ordinary Grace, which is a buddy read, Harry Potter, and then Shadows Upon Time, and then a maybe for Weird Space 2, Dawn of the Warriors. Yeah, that's a pretty killer month. Really, really excited about it. Every book on here has the potential to be a 10 out of 10 for me. So yeah, really, really looking forward to what is to come as far as the reading month for November. So this brings me to what is coming up on the channel. Well, first, I recorded my library video, one where I go around and review different libraries, and I have categories that I break it down in, and so I'm judging the libraries based off of this own really subjective list that I came up with. And it failed hard. And what I mean is not that nobody watched it, because I didn't put it out. Because when I went back and I was starting to edit it, I realized this is boring. So I was like, nobody's going to want to watch this. I don't even want to watch this. It was super boring. And so I just kind of abandoned that for now. I may come back to it if I can figure out a way to sort of get some excitement in there to get people a little bit more, to make it more entertaining, because that's what that video is going to be. It's just going to be strictly an entertaining video. I'm like, wow, people are just kind of walking around with me through the library. And it was as exciting as it sounded. So I was like, you know what, we're just gonna move that off to the side, maybe put a pin in it and come back to it later. I've got some plans, some ideas, some ways that I can liven that up, which I'm gonna kind of keep close to the chest at this point. But I do think that I will put it out. I just don't know when. And I may just have to scrap what I have and completely re-record it to make it a little more interesting. So the next video that I'm really excited about putting out is a book tag that I did with Jordan over at First Line Library. You guys know I've talked ad nauseum about how much I've enjoyed Jordan's channel. And on top of that, he's just a great dude. And so I really wanted to figure out a way that we could sync up, and not just with like a collaboration video, but where we can sit down and talk. He's a good brother. He's a good friend. And he's a funny dude. And not to mention, his camera and audio quality are like next level. May have to try to steal some of his secrets. But yeah, that one should be coming out a week from today. Really looking forward to that, because I realized, some of these book tags are pretty bland. So when Sam and I did sort of that like collaboration book tag, he came up with that idea. And now I just realized, like, I think I'm just going to take that and run with it. So if I get tagged in a book tag, or if I get sort of the itch to do a book tag, I think it's going to be way more fun if it can be conversational, because you guys know how much I love to talk, and so does everybody else. Ask Britton, ask Grifkin, ask Jonathan Cohn, ask Sam, anybody that I've gotten to talk to. You guys know how much I love to talk. That's a big part of the reason why I'm here, is because I love having these conversations with you guys, and it's not just like a monologue or a lecture to a camera, but I actively get to discuss some things with some brothers. And so moving forward, as I do book tags, I think that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to some folks, some friends, some brothers and sisters, and maybe be like, hey, let's do this book tag together and bounce some ideas off of each other so we can have some good discussion, dialogue, and maybe a few good laughs. And I think that'll be, number one, that will be a lot more fun for both of us that are doing the book tag. And number two, I think it'll be a lot more entertaining for you guys to watch. Yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to. So dropping next week will be a book tag with Jordan. And I sifted through several of the book tags and just didn't really like any of them. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make one. And I'm going to make up my own questions. And what's more fitting than to do a DNF book tag? So yeah, that was a ton of fun. That one's going to be just an absolute blast. So then the next video that I'm going to do is I'm going to do another challenge video with my bride. This one's going to be just a little bit different. It's not going to be book covers, and I'll just kind of let it sit there. I think we're going to have some stakes in the game again, because it makes it more interesting. Then another video I have coming out this month is I'm going to do episode 2 of judging books by their covers, and I'm going to let you guys help me pick out a book to throw on my TBR for December. That was a ton of fun. The vlog videos are a lot more fun than I expected them to be. I'm really looking forward to getting to do another one of those, to maybe pick some more books that are outside of my ordinary reading habits, or maybe outside of the genres that I typically read, and let you just throw it out there to you guys and let you vote on it, because I think that's going to be a lot of fun for a book for December. And then I think it'll be the last video of the month that I put out, and this is going to be probably the most excited I've been for a video that I've ever done. For the individuals that know, they know what I'm talking about. It should be coming out at the end of the month. It's going to be a collaboration video with some brothers of mine, and I am really, really looking forward to this video. It's going to be so much fun, and I think I'm going to drop that one on Black Friday, because I thought about dropping it on Thanksgiving. And so, or at least I knew I was going to drop it on the week of Thanksgiving. That way people would have time to sit down and really enjoy it, because it'll be a bit of a longer one. But I do think that with everybody being so busy on Thanksgiving, I don't want to try to throw a video out there and see what happens. So I think I'm going to drop it on Black Friday, where maybe some of us who are not involved in all the chaos and we're at home kind of hanging out with the family and want to sit down and have a few laughs. And I hope that this video is going to be one of your favorites as well, because I am really looking forward to this. So yeah, that's a pretty stacked month. So I've got the book tag with Jordan. I've got another challenge with my wife. I'll be doing episode 2 of judging books by their covers. And then I have this sort of mystery collaboration video coming up. And then obviously in between there, I'm going to have my book reviews each week, because I know that's why a lot of you guys are here. So that's a pretty stacked month. Okay, so this leads me into the book haul for this month. Now, I didn't pick up very much. I know I say that every month, but I got a steal on all of these. Picked up 5 books. The first one being Kenobi by John Jackson Miller. Yeah, so I read this book back in May or June, I can't remember, as a buddy read with Matt over at Go Read Books, and we just never got around to talking about it, to making a video about it. So I may throw up a book review for this sometime soon, but I loved this book. This is one of my favorite Star Wars novels that I've read. I got it at a used bookstore. She had it for $5.95, and I got it half off. So yeah, I got it for a couple of bucks. I really wanted a physical copy, especially with this cover. So yeah, Kenobi by John Jackson Miller was the first one. So the next 2 are Warhammer 40K novels. The first one being the Night Lords Omnibus. So I think this has 3 or 4 books in it. Yeah, look how thick that thing is. And part of the reason why I picked this up is it's been sitting in my Amazon cart for a while, and I got notified that it was no longer for sale by the seller. And I thought that was weird, because this is like a $18 book or something. And so I went and clicked on it, and it said that you could purchase it through other retailers, and the lowest price was like $165. And I was like, what just happened? And so apparently these are like out of print right now. And so obviously, some people have jacked the price way up. So I went to my local Warhammer store up in Huntsville and walked in, and they had 2 copies of this, and I had to make sure I picked one up before they were going to be unavailable to me. So that was the first one. And then the other one, in a similar fashion, had skyrocketed in price, and fortunately they had this one, and it is The Fall of Cadia. and this is by Robert Rath, which is a really sick last name. But yeah, the cover on this is really what kind of sold me. So yeah, the Warhammer 40K stuff, I'm not big into like the board game and all that. I'm that's not my thing. I do love the world, and I think the stories are really cool. A ton of fun, action-packed, really, really interesting, and the lore is like vast. But this was another one that I had in my Amazon cart, and I think the lowest price on this one was around $90 on Amazon. And so again, I got this for $16.99 at my local Warhammer shop. So I've got those on reserve if I ever need them. Okay, so the next one is one that I've been eyeing for a long time, and finally I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pick this one up, because this one copy in particular, this individual copy, has been sitting on the shelf for a long time, and it has not gotten the love that it needs, and that is Witchy Eye by DJ Butler. This cover is so cool. So DJ Butler, you guys heard me talk a little bit about him. I've been really looking forward to jumping into his work. This is by Baen Books, and he pretty much told me that this is where he would recommend that I start. And this book has been sitting on my Barnes & Noble shelf for almost a year. And I've noticed that it's been moved around a lot. So a lot of people have picked it up and put it back. And now I had purchased the ebook a while back, but I really love this cover, and I really wanted a physical copy. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to jump right in. I got to talk to Dave a little bit. Excellent guy, by the way. And I told him, like, hey, I'm really looking forward to jumping into Witchy Eye. And he was like, hey, let me know what you think. And so I think this is going to be a December read for me, even though it looks fairly thick. The font is actually pretty big, but man, I'm really looking forward into jumping into Witchy Eye. So I think this is going to be a December read for me. And then the last one is one that I've already read. I had been looking for a special edition copy of this, and was even about to trade away some of my Broken Binding books for I think it's the Fairy Loot crate or whatever it is, that subscription service, because they're the only ones that have a special edition of this currently. And then while I was in Books A Million, I just walked over to the kids section, which you're like, what? I walked over to the kids section, and I see that they kind of have a special edition, and so I had to pick it up, and that is Howl's Moving Castle. Man, and this edition is awesome. Now, do I think this is as pretty and as vibrant as that Fairy Loot crate, which I'll try to put it up somewhere out here? Maybe not, but this is a fraction of the price. I picked this up, I think, for $18 or something. And as you can see, I mean, the cover art is just so cool. And then it has inside cover art, which is excellent. It's even got the foil quotes on it. A really cool little touch is the sprayed edges. So I have gushed about Howl's Moving Castle. It is really like just a fantastic book that is severely underrated. It is so much better than the movie, in my opinion. And my daughter, so my son has already read it, and my daughter, I convinced her to pick it up. And so she's currently reading it. And so I wanted to have an edition for them both to be able to look at and be like, oh man, what a great story. So yeah, I had to pick this one up because it's absolutely gorgeous. So Howl's Moving Castle. So that's all I have for the book haul, which leads me into this month's giveaway. So for this month's giveaway, I want to start out by apologizing to anybody from last month that was looking to get the Denise Hunter books. I had mentioned that these were my wife's. She was looking to offload them, and I wanted to get them into the hands of somebody that would love them. And I said, yeah, this is going to be part of my giveaway. And some of you may have noticed I never posted. The reason is because for some reason, I think I had 3 or 4 people that were asking for these. So it would have been a pretty small pool of people that were looking for them. And I went back to the comment section, and something happened, and YouTube just deleted the comments. At first I thought maybe it was somebody in particular, but for those of you that record videos and stuff, you know, sometimes YouTube just does some wonky things, and they just deleted like half of the comments on that video. So I didn't know who did or didn't want. I remembered a couple of you guys who were, because I mentioned, you know, maybe your wives will be interested in some of these and would, you know, still happy to get them in their hands. And this is a completed trilogy. But yeah, just deleted like half the comments. And so I didn't know like who won them or who didn't. So instead, I'm going to throw them up for this month. So particularly ladies, if you guys are interested in this Denise Hunter trilogy, which is like a Christian romance, I think it's like a modern day Christian romance trilogy. Yeah, just leave me a comment down below. It says Denise Hunter. Let me know that you're interested. Or guys, maybe your wives might be interested in these. Leave me a comment down below that says Denise Hunter, and I'll put you in the running. This would be a great stocking stuffer for Christmas, and they look practically unread. Yeah, if you guys are interested, leave me a comment down below, and I will write your names down immediately to make sure that you are in the running for the Denise Hunter books. And then I have 2 other books that I'm going to give away. So I recently did a huge unhaul on this bookshelf behind me, because you guys probably can't see it. You might can right here, but it actually is a pretty deep bookshelf. And so I have a ton of books stacked behind there. And I was just like, I really need to offload some of these because there's a lot that I wouldn't read. I actually recorded an entire video of it. And again, it was super boring. And so not because I think book unhauls are boring. It's just mine was. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to get rid of a lot of books. And so I found a couple of duplicates, and I would like to get these in the hands of people that may love and cherish them. The first one being Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. This is like an unread trade paperback. I realized that I bought this after already owning the hardcover. And you guys know I tend to be more of a hardcover guy as far as like collecting goes. And so, yeah, if you guys are interested in Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett, leave me a comment down below that just says Pillars of the Earth. You'll be in the running. I would love to get this in someone's hands. I've heard a lot about this book. I don't know a ton about it, so maybe do your research. But yeah, if you guys are interested in something a little bit different, Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. And then to kind of follow along with the theme of maybe giving away some books that are outside of the sci-fi fantasy genre, the last one is going to be Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. This is this mass market paperback. Again, I realized that I have 2 copies. I actually purchased this from a used bookstore, I think for like $1 or something, and realized, oh, I already have that. So I would love to get this into somebody's hands. So again, if you guys are interested, just leave me a comment down below that says Lonesome Dove, and you'll be in the running. Yes, you can be in the running for all 3 books or sets or whatever. If you want all 3 of them, leave me a comment that tells me you want all 3 of them, whatever the case may be. If you only want one of them, leave me a comment. You guys know how it works. So the only thing that I ask is that you're subscribed to the channel, because the reason I do these giveaways isn't to get more views. It's actually just my way of saying thank you to you guys who've been so supportive and edifying to me with this channel in particular, because you guys are such an encouragement and support. So I was just like, I got to do something to say thank you. And so I'd like to give away some books to you guys. If you're interested, be subscribed to the channel, and then leave me a comment down below which of these books that you're interested in, or all of them, and I'll put you in the running. And I'll do the drawing probably like 2 weeks from today. So not this coming Friday, but probably the next. And I'll do a drawing for all of the different books. So really looking forward to it. Thank you guys again. And lastly, this brings me to our YouTube spotlight. And so there are 2 people in particular that I want to shed some light on, some channels that I would like to shed some light on, maybe get their videos out in front of you guys, because they just do an excellent job. The first is going to be my friend Brittany, or Bookbird, over on YouTube. She has been on Instagram for quite a while. She has been on Goodreads, I think probably for even longer. And she's been on YouTube for a while, just in a different space. But she has recently started to post some book videos. And I think maybe she even has a dedicated channel for that. So Brittany over at Bookbird, she is just awesome. She has been a supporter since pretty much like day one. We've had some good conversation back and forth. She's told me some books to steer clear of. She's told me some books that I would really enjoy. We've made fun of some books at their expense and stuff. So she's just been a great joy and friend to me. And so I'm really looking forward to some of her videos. They're great. Guys, please go and check out her channel, flood her with subscribers, flood her with comments and likes and all the things. So that way her videos are then thrust in front of other eyes, because yeah, you know, people say, well, BookTube is oversaturated or whatever, or YouTube is in general. And while that may be the case to some, like for me, I'm like, the more the merrier, because you're bringing your own individual perspective on things. That's not just desired, but I think it's needed. It's great to have a a culmination of voices to where we're not just speaking in an echo chamber all the time. So, oh, Sun Eater is good, or oh, Mistborn is good. You know, it's like you kind of hear the same opinions from all of the different booktube channels. And so it's great to be able to sort of diversify what you're listening to. So that way you can get some differing perspectives. But Brittany does an excellent job. So make sure you go and support her. And then the other channel needs no help from me whatsoever. And that is my buddy Griftkin. You guys need to go check out Griff's channel. Some of you probably already have. He actually had me on very early, like the first month or two that I was making videos. And we had a very good long discussion. That was my fault. I got super nervous when I was sitting there talking to him because like it was maybe 20 or 30 minutes before I went on with him. I realized like, oh, he has like 10,000 subscribers and has interviewed like every big name author in existence. And so immediately I just got super nervous and went in. And when I get nervous, I don't shut up. And so I was just blabbing, but we had a really good time. Grift is a good brother, but his channel in particular, if you guys are looking for author interviews, he puts some of the big name guys to shame. You know, I mean, he just swings for the fences with the different authors that he reaches out to. And a lot of times he gets them. I mean, the guy has interviewed Jim Butcher, which, you know, Jim is sort of like a recluse. And so to be able to get a hold of Jim and interview him, that's super cool. But yeah, maybe some of you guys haven't heard of Ed's channel, but it is fantastic. He does a ton of author interviews. They're all exemplary. They're really good. And he doesn't just talk about like, tell me why your book is good. It's a lot of like introspection into the world of writing, into their motives, into the creative processes, all those kind of things, the nitty gritty stuff that I personally love. You know, you kind of get to see how the sausage is made, and he kind of pulls that curtain back with each individual author and he shows how it's different. And so his channel is just phenomenal. So y'all go and make sure you check out and support my buddy Griftkin. Okay, guys, that's the month of October. It is over. Yeah, I am super excited for the Christmas season. I am one of those people that is about to go put my tree up on November 1st. So yeah, really looking forward to the remainder of the year, the holiday season. Thank you guys so much again for coming and hanging out with me, listening to me blab a ton, as I always do. Just getting to come and hang out and fellowship with one another. I just want you guys to know how much I appreciate you. So thank you guys so much again for watching, and I will see you on the next one.